The text came through at 1:17 a.m. Tonight, Pier 7. Don't be late. Nat's heart rate spiked. A familiar and addictive rush of adrenaline that the dull light of her apartment could never provide. Her old Nissan 350Z sat restless in the garage. A beast of a machine painted a matte black that seemed to drink the moonlight. She slipped into her worn leather jacket, grabbed her keys, and ran a hand over the polished body of her car. This wasn't just a vehicle. It was her ticket out, her identity in a world that otherwise ignored her. Pier 7 was a concrete playground after hours, a long, lonely stretch of industrial waterfront where the cops rarely bothered to patrol until the noise complaints became too frequent. By the time Nat arrived, the area was already buzzing. A crowd of familiar faces huddled around customized imports and domestic muscle cars. The air thick with the smell of high-octane fuel and exhaust fumes. The energy was electric, the quiet chatter punctuated by revving engines and booming music. She spotted Leon leaning against his pristine, cherry-red Camaro. He was the local king, the one everyone came to beat. His smile was easy, but his eyes held a cold challenge. "Glad you could make it, Nat," he said, pushing off the hood of his car. "Heard you've been practicing. Heard you still can't handle a curve, Leon?" She shot back, a confident smirk on her face. The night's main event was about more than bragging rights tonight. The whisper circulating the crowd was about a notorious new challenger, an urban legend known only as Apex, who drove an unmarked, impossibly fast white Audi R8. Apex had been dominating every underground race in the neighboring city, and tonight was their first appearance on Leon's turf. The stakes were high. A buy-in of $1,000 and the unwritten rule that the loser handed over the keys to their car. Nat checked her engine one last time, the cold steel beneath her fingers the only steady thing in the chaotic night. The roar of a distant, high-performance engine cut through the music, announcing the arrival of the legend. A hush fell over Pier 7 as the white Audi R8 rolled into the light of the makeshift track's starting line. It was an intimidating machine, pristine and silent, its windows so darkly tinted that the driver remained completely obscured. It idled with a powerful, low growl that made Leon's Camaro sound tame. The starter, a jittery man named Manny clutching a flashlight, signaled the drivers to their marks. Nat pulled her 350Z up to the line, the matte black paint contrasting sharply with the Audi's brilliant white. Leon, unwilling to be sidelined, brought his Camaro to the third starting position. Tonight wasn't just a two-car race. It was the champion and the challenger against the hopeful dark horse. Nat, the course was a brutal one. 2 miles straight down the pier, a sharp 180-degree hairpin turn around a rusted shipping container, and then full throttle back to the start/finish line. It was a route that favored torque and handling equally. Nat took a deep breath, the smell of salt water mixing with burning rubber. Her hands were steady on the wheel, her focus absolute. She glanced at the Audi. A single, gloved hand gave a subtle wave from the driver's side window. The arrogance of it ignited a cold fire in her stomach. Manny raised the flashlight. The crowd held its breath, the engines of the 3 cars roaring in anticipation. Point 1, point 2, point 3. The light sliced down. The Audi launched like a bullet from a gun, immediately pulling half a car length ahead. Leon's Camaro screamed next, its powerful V8 eating up the pavement. Nat, skilled in the art of the perfect launch, was right on its tail, her turbocharged engine whining in protest as she pushed it to its absolute limit. They tore down the straightaway, a blur of white, red, and black. The G-force pressed Nat back into her seat as the speedometer climbed rapidly. Leon fought the Audi for the lead, but the R8's acceleration was otherworldly. It simply pulled away, untouchable. Nat focused on the turn ahead. This was her advantage. Leon was heavy, prone to sliding. The Audi was a mystery. As they approached the hairpin at impossible speeds, the Audi braked late, drifting around the container with unnerving precision. Leon slammed on his brakes, his rear tires briefly losing traction, forcing him wide. Nat used the opening. She hugged the inside line, her 350Z a little pocket rocket of agility. She slid past Leon and came within inches of the Audi's bumper. She saw a brief flash through the tinted window, a silhouette leaning into the turn with effortless ease. Apex wasn't just a driver, They were a master. The race back was a drag race to the finish. The Audi had the superior top speed, slowly pulling away again. Nat gritted her teeth, pushing her Nissan harder than ever before, the engine temperature gauge climbing into the red zone. Apex crossed the finish line a full 3 car lengths ahead. Nat came second, a solid victory over Leon, but a defeat nonetheless. The crowd roared in disappointment and awe. The legend was real. The Audi's taillights glowed red as it slowly turned around. Victory secured. The $1,000 were gone. But more importantly, the identity of the mysterious Apex remained a secret. The real challenge had just begun. The white Audi R8 idled at the finish line, a silent monument to its driver's skill. A palpable tension hung in the air as the crowd waited for Apex to emerge, but the driver remained stubbornly in the machine. Nat pulled her 350Z over, the engine ticking as it cooled down, her mind already analyzing the flawless lines the Audi had taken. She wasn't angry about losing. She was intrigued. Leon pulled up moments later, frustration radiating from him. "Untouchable," he muttered, punching his steering wheel. "Nobody beats that thing." Nat ignored him, her eyes locked on the Audi. She saw a flicker of movement within. The driver's window rolled down an inch. A soft, feminine voice cut through the night air, surprising everyone. "Good race, Nat," the crowd murmured. Nat stepped closer to the car. "How do you know my name?" The driver sighed, and the deeply tinted windows suddenly cleared at the flick of a switch. Nat's jaw dropped. Behind the wheel was her older sister, Maya. Maya, who had moved away years ago to work for a high-tech engineering firm. The sister Nat hadn't seen in 3 years, the person who taught her how to drive a stick shift in the first place. Maya. Nat was speechless. Maya stepped out of the R8, a sheepish smile on her face. "I needed a reason to come home and get you out of the house. You weren't answering my calls." She gestured to the car. "Work perk. I designed some of the handling systems on this prototype." The narrative of the night instantly shifted from competition to reunion. The crowd, initially stunned, began to cheer and laugh. Leon, though thousands of dollars poorer, walked over, shaking his head in disbelief but smiling. The fierce rivalry dissolved into communal amusement. "You really beat us fair and square," Leon admitted to Maya, looking at the R8 with professional admiration. "I expected more of a challenge from you, sis," Maya teased Nat, pulling her into a tight hug. "Your cornering is sloppy." Nat laughed, the adrenaline of the race replaced by the warmth of family. "Oh, you're on for a rematch tomorrow night, on my turf." "Deal," Maya said. "But first, how about some actual food? I missed Mom's cooking." As the eastern sky lightened with the promise of a new day, the makeshift race community dispersed, the tension of the competition replaced by good spirits and the unexpected joy of a homecoming. Nat and Maya walked toward Nat's 350Z, the Ghost, and the Apex side by side. The race was over, but their story, the real one, had just begun. Nat had her sister back, a new rival to train against, and the happy realization that the most important connections weren't found at the finish line, but in the people waiting at the start.